All right, hi guys, Dr. Sean here again. Happy Easter. We're looking in our mailbag and we got an interesting question here. We have a young lady from the South asking us about arthritis and what to do for it. She's a 55-year-old female. She's developed some foot pain, mainly in her toes and toe joints. She went in, had some x-rays done. They noticed some arthritis was going on. But the beginning of it sounds like, just the beginning stages. She's in good shape. She eats well. She's very active, leads a good lifestyle. So she's like, what's going on? And she does have a small family history of it. Now, let's go through this. I wouldn't be terribly worried about it as far as it's, when they look at the films and say, hey, it's starting. It's not bad then. It just means that you have some inflammation in the joints and you're not controlling it well. So the question becomes, how do you figure out all this stuff and what do you do for it? In our practice, of course, we always examine. That's what we do. So you start by looking. I like the 24-hour UA. The UA tells me a lot about the body. What are you holding on to? What are you throwing away? Can the body get rid of its waste? Can it clean itself? So it gets us kind of in the ballpark of what to do with it. Now, once you have that, and you have a general idea that, hey, when I'm eating a certain food group, I'm not using it, and the body's struggling with it, well, then that food group starts to create a waste product. And that waste product is exactly what we're talking about when we're discussing arthritic change. So we go through this. And I'm not saying there can't be genetics and history and all that's there, but something has to kind of get the ball rolling. Genetics isn't a death sentence. It doesn't mean, oh my God, mom had this, I'm going to get it. It just means simply that you have the tendency for that if you water that plant. If you water the weed, that weed will grow. So we got to figure out how you're watering it. So we go back and say, well, she's eating decent and so on, but there's a problem still. She's still having trouble. So we go back and look at this and we say, all right, we know that arthritic change, all right, it's inflammation, it's stress, it's irritation to the joints. What causes that? In my line of work, the biggest cause is something in the dietary system. Something's coming through that GI tract that the body can't handle. So imagine this. You swallow food, it goes down in your belly chews on it, your enzymes start to break it down, but maybe you don't have enough enzymes, or maybe the food is processed, or maybe the food was overcooked, or maybe your system has just slowed down enough over the years that you just can't break things down efficiently anymore for your portion size. Then that food that doesn't break down goes further into the intestines. And what happens there is that other things start to eat it. It's not just us any longer. Now it's bacteria, it's funguses, it's yeast. There's things that are down there that start to nibble on that food as well. They produce a stool or a waste product. I know it sounds kind of nasty, but they make their own waste. Their waste now is what aggravates our lining. And so all of a sudden, these guys start to produce a waste product. That waste product then inflames the lining of the gut. The gut then stretches a little bit as it distends. It gets gassy and bloated. Makes sense. All of a sudden, now you get this screen door type intestine that you've stretched. So the holes in it have become larger. And it's more clear than that, but this is a good way to kind of explain it. So the holes become larger. Now these particles, these waste particles, are allowed to sneak inside. When they get back inside the body, your immune system reacts to them. It says, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be here. And so it creates a fight. And it's like a fight anywhere. If you start wrestling around in your living room, you're going to knock things over and furniture, and you start to damage or irritate the tissue. So it's no big deal if it's a one-time shot. But if all of a sudden there's something not right with digestion and you're aggravating it over and over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, glass of wine here, maybe some cookies there, maybe something you don't digest well over here, even if it's good food, the body can't always break it down. Well, now you're creating this constant stream of bad things into the body, waste products. So your immune system is constantly reacting to it. Eventually, it's like a glass of water that you're pouring salt into. It'll dissolve. But if you keep pouring it, eventually there's just too much salt for the water to hold and dissolve, so it starts to pile up at the bottom. That's what happens inside the body. We call it flocculation. This waste product that's getting inside starts to circulate, not through your blood per se, but it's going through your fluid, what they call the extracellular fluid, that all your cells are floating around in. So it's sitting there in this fluid and it starts to become numerous. It starts to rain out a solution and get on top of surfaces. Sometimes it's on hard surfaces like a bone cell. In that case, if it damages that tissue, it'll end up being called osteoarthritis. Sometimes it goes into joint spaces, which you'll see in your fingers, or you'll see in your wrists or your elbows, or your toes in this case. Again, now you're looking at a rheumatism or a rheumatoid type arthritis. If it gets into the muscle tissue, they'll label it as a fibromyalgia. So if it goes everywhere, sometimes you hear the term lupus being thrown around. The key to it is that they're all very similar, and it all goes back to the same thing. Find the cause, remove it, and the body will do wonderful things. There's a lot of what I would call passive care type things you can do as well. You can get into sulfur and sulfur byproducts. You can get into good fatty acids and all these things to help the joints heal faster. But it's really going to center around digestion and improving the diet a little bit in a good direction. And even if you eat a great diet, if you don't digest it, the body struggles. So if you can clean those things up, seal the gut up, heal the gut up, you'll turn arthritic conditions completely around. And it's really rewarding to do for a patient because they get their life back. I'm Dr. Sean, guys. I hope that helps you. Have a great and wonderful Easter.